goal kicker, Taylor Walker, with a welcome off. Here's Roselli. Roselli kicks the goal.
Handball to the excitement machine, McLeod. Left foot goal.
Oh, don't tell me.
He's a superstar.
Don't tell me. Oh! He's yet to kick an AFL goal. Oh, the velvet curtain.
Walker, oh, he's a colossus. He's kicked 5. He's been a handful. He's been the difference.
To cover himself in glory.
Just coming back.
And got there.
Welcome to the Proper Crows podcast, episode number 8, coming at you Sunday morning after the disappointing Anzac Day loss against the Dockers. Welcome if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching on YouTube, hello as well. Of course, not just myself here, I'm joined by Dom. Dom, how are you?
Good, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, a bit of Pete Murray about me, mate. Seen better days after Friday night, but, we move on. And Dill, of course, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. I sort of accepted the loss pretty quickly on Friday night, and we started wine tasting, so we're all right. We're not bad. It was a bit disappointing, but it is what it is.
Certainly helps get over the bump a little bit quicker, that's for sure. Of course, we'll be going over the loss against the Dockers today. We'll be going over some general news and early preview against the Blues for this week coming up, and a bit more. Of course, no SANFL today because we're yet to play. That'll be this afternoon at Mornteam Hyundai Oval against the Eagles. So, Dom, Friday night, what was the final score, mate?
I don't even know if I want to say it because it just has made me so incredibly angry. Every time I think about this game, it fills me with so much rage. It's not funny. However, we did go down 12-13-85 to 9-13-67. I'm not talking anymore on the score because it's just going to make me angry. Every time genuinely, every time I think about the game, it just fills me with rage. It's so much worse than any game we've lost so far this year.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty sight at all. Dill, who kicked the snags? There weren't many of them, but we did get a couple.
Yeah. Well, we had Phil kicks 3, Tex 2, and then Solly, Rankin, Rash, and Nibbler just with one of their own. So there should have been so many more. So wasteful, but it is what it is. These things happen. Just hope it doesn't bite us on the arse later in the season, I guess.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Nibbler probably should have kicked 3 by himself. He missed a couple of easy ones there throughout the night, which was tough to watch. Of course, we had Peatling and Rochelle coming in, as we talked about on Friday, and Fogg went out with his injury, and Berry omitted as well. Sid back to the sub-vest, as we thought may have happened, which was good to see, but we just didn't show up early on. I mean, Freo copped a few soft free kicks in the first quarter, which led to goals, but they jumped out of the blocks and kicked 6 in the first quarter, and we just, I don't know, we wrestled back momentum around the ground, but couldn't put it on the scoreboard after that. Dom, I don't know your thoughts. It was a pretty grim start to the game, really.
No, that's so accurate. Like we just got jumped in that first quarter, and I think we adjusted well after quarter time. But when you're conceding 6 goals away from home against good Oppo, it's always going to be a very long road back. And once again, we put ourselves in a position where we needed to fight back, and we just couldn't get it done. We just got bullied around the midfield. We all discussed how important that midfield battle was going to be, and they just absolutely monstered us. The stats probably don't tell the full story because I don't think we lost the clearances by too many. I think it was 38-30, which I don't think is a fair reflection. Watching the game live, they just absolutely monstered us. We couldn't do anything about Brayshaw. Sarong, given he's not as damaging as Brayshaw is, but Matt Johnson had a generational game. There's just nothing we could do about it. And our own midfielders not performing as well made it even worse. I think Laird was our leading possession getter with 27, I want to say. And then after that, there's just no one really. I think the next best was Dawson with 20. That's deplorable when you're looking at Brayshaw 37, Sarong 32, Johnson 27, Clark 27. Like, just not good.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, so 7 of the top 10 possession getters on the ground were Dockers. You're right. Laird had 27, Dawson had 21, Worrell had 20. So it was, pretty grim. Brayshaw obviously won the medal, had 37 touches. Sarong had 32 touches. They had 16 clearances between them. Laird, who was our highest possession getter, had 2 clearances. Dawson had 1 clearance. Rankin had 3 clearances. Saligo had 6 to be fair. Peatling had 5. But yeah, it was just bleak. And I hate to be that person. There's been a few in comments and on Twitter over the weekend, but what the fuck was Nixie doing in the coach's box? Because nothing changed early on. I think that was the hard part, is we just let them have their way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just let Brayshaw do what he wanted.
Yeah,
There was just
what do you
time he
reckon,
was
mate?
sitting there. Just, I just don't understand. Like the whole Brayshaw thing, you sort of walk through the middle. We watched him walk through the middle how many times? He did nothing.
Yeah.
And he did nothing. He just sat there and watched him do it. So, yeah, it's just, it's frustrating because, but like, who do you send to him? Who would have gone with him?
Peeling.
That's yeah. Yeah, look. Yeah, it is.
As much as I don't want to
use,
use, as much as I don't want to use Peatling in a role like that, when someone is as off the chain as Brayshaw was, you need to do something about it. You can't just let him walk around, and like, he absolutely punished us.
Yeah.
Like, even,
But, like,
there's argument that. Here you go.
Yeah, it's just Peatling goes to him, and then we probably lose one of the players that were getting the clearances. You know, that was able to sort of get that ball in and under at a stoppage, and you basically just eliminated from the game altogether. Dawson was doing nothing. Dawson was awful all night. Awful. It was hard. It was actually hard to watch at some points. You know, Rankin was good. Rankin, he stepped up here and there. Solly was quiet, like he has been probably for the last month, nearly 3 weeks. He hasn't been at his best. So I think if you sort of eliminate Peatling and sort of make it a 3v3, 3v3 in that middle, I think it just would have become harder, in all fairness. But yeah, something had to have changed there because Brayshaw was doing whatever he wanted, and it was very, very hard to watch. Very hard to watch. And you sort of got that feeling within the first 2 minutes that it was going to happen all day.
Yeah. Nah, 100%.
Yeah.
Agree. I mean, Saligo's first quarter was good. I'll give him that. He had 8 touches, kicked a goal, had 3 clearances. So he actually, stats-wise, had a better first quarter than Brayshaw. But Brayshaw had, what do you have in the first? 8 disposals, only the 2 clearances. So they were pretty similar for the first, but it was the drop-off after that, which was, I don't know, yeah, a bit concerning. Solly's just been a bit down recently, so don't know what's going on with him, but hopefully he can pick himself back up this week, and it doesn't get any easier with the Carlton midfield coming to town, but it is what it is. We'll see how we go. Just another thing as well, looking at the squad going forward, I was a bit concerned with after Fogg, obviously went out this week, we looked just disjointed. Going forward, we just could not get anything going, and yeah, it really showed up. We obviously couldn't put a score on the board all night, kicked a few late, but I don't know, Tom, we just poor.
Yeah, that we did look good going forward, which has been our, strong part of our game early on this year, and we just look so disconnected in parts in that game, like especially the entries inside 50 were as bad as they've been recently. Defensively, we were terrible. Like, I'm almost at the point where I think I'd almost rather Dawson go back to halfback now as well. Like, that's a very controversial take. I'm aware of that, but I just think him coming off halfback is going to be more useful than having him in the midfield, where like he's not an inside midfielder. He's proven he can play in there if we need him to, but I'd rather he not. Like, that's now that we've got Peatling, and I think it's almost the same issue as I don't want Crouch and Dawson in the same centre bounce, because Dawson's whole strong suit was that he would get the ball and break and deliver inside 50, and he doesn't even have that this year. And I don't think that's entirely his fault. but he just seems to be.
I disagree. I disagree. Like, he's been huge these last few weeks. Like, he'll be he'll be probably top 3 in the Brownlow at the moment, top 5 in the Brownlow at the moment. And, we get beaten once and we're having this conversation. It's just, I don't know. It's
But
hard.
I've
It's hard.
been thinking it all year. I think his ball use has been down this year, and we all know it. We talked about it last year, and I think it's because he's playing inside when he's so clean on the outside that I'd rather him play on the outside. Look,
Well,
probably
do you want him starting on a half back and then pushing into that middle? Is that
yeah.
what you're saying?
Okay, this is gonna irk some people, and probably you two included. But I think what Ken Hinkley has done with Rosie is so fucking smart, and
Yeah.
Dawson playing a similar role to that, I think, would hold us in very good stead.
Well, that's what. Like,
Again,
Rosie
it's probably
played
a little bit
juniors. He played that
reactionary,
role
but
through his juniors, and he played it in the sample as well. When he was out playing at North Adelaide, he was playing off half back. And that's what. And Josh Carr was out there at the time, so he just moved him back to what he was doing. And we've seen Dawson do that role as well. So I do see where you're coming from, and if he's going to do that sort of role, then I completely agree with you.
I don't even think it should be every game. Like, I'm not saying I want him moved. I just think it might have been a good idea in this Freo game, especially when he's not, like, given he was out of the game in that last quarter, and I think that's where the change could have been made and should have been made a bit earlier. And I guess it's hard to have that conversation when you've got, Ranks only had 19, Solly had 18, Peatling had 18. Like, there was no one really controlling the midfield in his absence when he kind of got pushed forward a little bit in that last quarter. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something that I think we could have looked at as a change to try and, shake up the game a bit, especially in that first quarter. But
I don't mind it. Like, I think the whole midfield was down. There was 56 clangers all night. That is disgusting. Awful. It sort of kind of puts into perspective of how many times the ball was turned over. I would love to see the stat on Fremantle score from turnovers. That's one stat I would love to see because it happened all night. We turned it over and off they went. So, but yeah, something has to change because, Carlton this week, Walsh, Cripps, they could body us pretty easily in the clearances Hewitt. And Hewitt's in huge form. Cherry's probably playing the best footy that he's played his entire career, even though he is sort of sitting a little bit back and coming off that half back and pushing into the contest. He is playing the best footy that he's played in his entire career. So it's a big game.
I've just seen a stat that has not confused me, but kind of made me a little bit more angry. So we took 14 marks inside 50 to 7 and had 18 tackles inside 50 to 8 and still got pumped. Like, that's grim stat to win by that much.
Yeah.
And still, like, damn.
Well, we dominated from quarter time onwards. Absolutely dominated them.
Yeah.
Like, we were just so wasteful and so frustrating. Like, they nearly got out to a 40-point lead, even when we were so on top. So wasteful. And I think it just sort of shows where it just shows where the list's at, but it's not mature enough. Like, we've got a great list. I think this is the list that probably wins us a flag. But at the same time, we've still got so much going to do. I think it's probably another maybe 2 seasons until we're that Brisbane Collingwood type of team that is really going to punish whenever we need to.
Yeah, so three-quarter time they were up. They were 42 up at three-quarter time. But after the quarter time, we actually won the game 6-7 to 7-12. And we missed a couple of easy ones. The one that stands out to me is that Neil Bullen one where he was running into goal. And he somehow missed everything.
Yeah.
It just surmised the night completely when he missed that one. And I mean, I think he missed 2. Filthy missed a pretty easy set shot. Rochelle missed 1. It just, we realistically, you look at it and you probably say we should have won this game. And then you look at the Worm and go Freo, we're probably 5 and 6 goals up for most of the night, which is confusing to say the very least. And we kicked a few goals late and made a bit of a run, but just couldn't get ourselves back in the game enough and put it on the scoreboard. And it's really frustrating to know that we won everywhere around the ground after quarter time and just couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, it just comes back to that maturity, and I think and how mature we are, how wasteful we have been. But it's what it is. If you can't capitalise on the scoreboard, then you're going to lose games of footy.
Yep. No, exactly right. I think someone said it best in the Twitter replies on Friday night. Bad kicking is bad football. Surmised the whole entire mood, to be perfectly honest. I read that and I was like, yep, that says it all.
Mm-hmm.
One person who was good, and it's probably not much more than him, but Josh Worrell was really good Friday night.
Yep.
He got a bit of recognition online as well, which was nice. He had 20 touches, 12 kicks, 8 handballs, 5 marks. Was playing a bit of a lone hand down back, really. He shone in a not very bright night, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, his intercept defending is just coming in leaps and bounds, and even his one-on-one defending is starting to get to a point where you've got to notice it. Like, he's been known as the last couple of seasons of being able to intercept, but like on Friday night he really sort of stood up and defended when he had to, because no one else was doing it, because Mark Keane sort of turned into a bit of a bum. Nick Murray was just not having a great night. So if he didn't do what he did, we probably would have lost by 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah. On the other tall backs, I did read on Twitter that Murray went off a couple of times in the last quarter with a bit of a sore knee. So I don't know what's happening there. I haven't seen any other reports of that. So hopefully he's all right. But yeah, a bit concerning to say the least. And Mark Keane was more worried about bumping his players off the ball than actually playing for the ball, which was concerning. I mean, there are
surely he gets dropped this week.
dubious decisions.
Surely he gets dropped this week.
No, I'd rather Keane be in the side over Butts or Borlos. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You're
Butts is the only one
dropping one bum
potentially
for another.
prefer.
Yeah, maybe, but
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, yeah, Keane's just been undisciplined of the last few weeks. I think that's the most annoying thing. And like, even he was probably
thinks
a bit
he's
stiff
fucking
to give
Nick
away that
Dacos.
50 when he handballed the ball too hard.
that was funny.
does.
Though.
That
That was a
swagger,
massive
I don't know.
mood.
Yeah, nah, it's concerning. And when you've got a forward line this week coming in of Curnow, Mackay, yeah, you're going to need your best defenders on the park. So hopefully Muzz is all good and gets up, because if he's out this week, then we're in a world of strife, I fear.
Yeah, well, I still think our backline's a little bit of a concern. I think we're one key defender away still from me being super comfortable with where our list's at, but can't do anything about it at the moment. So
Yeah, no, I have to work with what we've got at the moment. So hopefully they show up this week and we go from there. Any other points from the games that stood out from you boys, or is this just sort of tuck it in the back rearview mirror and just move on from it as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's probably the perfect way to say it. Just let it go. We'll talk about it probably in 3 months' time when it hits September and we miss the 4-bye game, but it's fine.
I'll be glad. Look, if we only miss a 4-bye game, I'll take that with the performances we've seen of late, so that's all right. We'll move on to a bit of news. Riley Thilthorpe, bit worrying looking at scans tomorrow, but he suffered a compound fracture in his finger, which actually pierced the skin, which is disgusting to think about, to say the very least. Various reports could be from 1 week to 6 weeks. He might not miss a game. Obviously, depends how bad the finger is dislocated. But I'm doing a bit of reading. It's potentially an injury that may require surgery. So we'll see what comes back with scans. But it's fair to say if he's out, we're again in a world of trouble. Dom, have you heard anything more about the injury or any potential for anything?
I have not, unfortunately. It's very it's hard with finger injuries, because if it is just if he's just dislocated it bad enough that it's fractured through the skin he might only like. I think either way, he's going to miss a week. I don't think he'll play
Mm.
against Carlton. But it's one of those things where if there's no ligament damage and it's a simple repair, they might strap the finger, like um, strap it next to another finger and see how he goes through training. And then if he passes the fitness test, he'll play. But if there's ligament damage, like he could be gone for 4 weeks. Which is why I said, like in the chat, it's such an it's such a shit way to break the news because there's no timeline on it yet. All we know is that the club isn't. I don't think the club's confident based on the wording. Um, so it could be rough. It could be very rough.
Yeah, it would be less than ideal to lose Riley. It's very fair to say he still kicked 3 goals on Friday night, and he looked good up forward. He even came back on after this injury and kicked another snag in the last quarter. Had a couple of shots, was still marking, but yeah, we'll see.
That's the only
We'll see how we
positive
go
sign
from
that
here.
he did come back out and he was still able to get his hands to the ball and mark the ball. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it'll. I don't know. It's hard because they might honestly say like if you're happy to push through this, he can probably still play. But um, yeah, it's one of those things where you don't know till he's had the scan. So
yeah, yeah. So I suppose we'll find out more news early this week, and of course we'll as soon as we hear anything, we'll pop it up on the socials for everyone to see. Fingers crossed for the best news. Well, that's not a great analogy for that situation, but we'll go with that. One person who won't be playing this week, Dill, is Mitch Hinge, who received a 1 week suspension for his punch, and I've got that in quotation marks because it clearly wasn't intentionally a punch on Andy Brayshaw. What are your thoughts on that one, Matt?
Brayshaw's got a bit of a reputation for ducking into punches, so I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah,
that's
it was a bit of that. It looked to me like he was just trying to push him, but yeah,
I
know.
think
It didn't
the
look like it was an
MRO
intentional punch.
the MRO graded it fair enough in my opinion. Like I think it was the contact was there. Like that him making that movement was intentional and he just got him high. Like I don't think there's much we can do about it.
What they say it was
Yeah,
Yeah,
high
it was
intentional medium.
low impact. That's why it's only one game. It was low impact, intentional, high contact.
Yeah.
If it
yeah,
was
it's
medium,
there.
he would have got 2.
Yeah, he's unlucky. I think he's unlucky. It's just that movement from Brayshaw, literally as he moves his arm. Yeah, if he doesn't duck down a little bit, then he probably gets him in the chest. And we're not even talking about this, but here we are. Josh Worrell copped a $2,000 fine for his sling tackle on Frederick in the
That's
third or fourth
disgusting.
quarter.
That's disgusting. Like, what else did he do? He doesn't do that. He doesn't tackle him. Like, it's just, yeah. Look, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty disgusting.
The slinging motion afterwards probably wasn't necessary, but I mean, yeah, I'm a bit in between where I can see where they're coming from. I mean, Frederick didn't get injured, and at least it's only a fine, so he'll be playing this week, but probably a little bit stiff, you'd say.
Yep.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to move on to the SANFL Round 4. We've probably got a few players to watch for this game here. One that's holding my microphone up right now, Charlie Edwards, could be in line for a big game today. Taking on the Eagles, 2:10pm Morn Team Hyundai Oval. First question here I've got on the run sheet is, what does Lockie McAndrew have to do to get a game? Because, Rob, we didn't speak about him in the analysis, but he didn't have a great game on Friday night.
I think if he has a big one like he did not last week, week before, I think he plays. Because if Thilthorpe goes out as well, they could run a double ruck combo. Because if at the moment the way that Carlton are playing and the way that TDK is playing, they could bring in Pitt in it. So look, this is going to be an interesting watch. I think the thing that may save Rob is the marks that he took around the ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the other thing that could save him as well is if they just bring in Burgess to replace Thilthorpe as a second ruck.
Yeah.
Potential for that. I don't know how Lockie McAndrew goes up forward and what sort of kick he is, but he can't be worse than Rob. So, we'll see how we go. Dom, what are your thoughts, mate? Does McAndrew push towards a selection, or how do you reckon he goes?
I would bring him in regardless. I just think it's so like Rob is so inconsistent. I know we gave him his flowers last week because he deserved them, but he's so inconsistent. He's so slow. Like he can't afford to fumble the ball for how slow he is, and he fumbles it way too often. His kicking is horrific. His handballs miss the target half the time. I'm just so if McAndrew has 15 touches, 30 hit outs, I would just give him a crack. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Even if they play both, like you said, something's got to give at some point. Rob has, he's not the worst ruckman in the league, but he's up there, and I don't think we're going to win a flag with him as our ruckman, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. It's a very similar vibe as when Strawn was absolutely dominating in the SANFL and we just persisted with Rob for ages, what seemed like he was having, 50 hit outs a game in the SANFL, and we still didn't drop him. It just feels a very similar vibe, so I hope that he cracked into the squad at some stage soon. Another vet who we could be looking to come back if Nixie makes the move, obviously Hinge out, opens up a half-back flank spot. Brodie Smith, Oscar Ryan, Charlie Edwards, there's a few names who could be floating in this side. I think we all have our preference of two of those three names that I've just mentioned, but who do you reckon we lean on?
I think Charlie Edwards, purely because he's that bigger body, like Hinge. I think if Charlie Edwards plays well today, I think he comes in. I think he comes in regardless, in all honesty. As I said last week, he's probably pretty close to a debut. Oscar Ryan, I don't know. He's a bit small. I think he's a fair bit smaller than what Charlie Edwards is, and Charlie Edwards, that bigger body, probably got a year on. I think he's got a year on Oscar Ryan as well, so a little bit bigger. But I think Charlie Edwards plays next week, no matter what. That's my view on it. If Brodie Smith comes in, you just won't hear from me for a matter of weeks.
If Brodie Smith plays, I'm not kidding. I'm going to have to recluse myself from the pod for that week because I will not be able to stay calm. If, like, that, it's what people won't agree with this, but I think Brodie Smith coming into the side is worse than Lockie Murphy coming into the side.
Oh, I'd agree. I think most people would actually agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't, no, he's been so good for us. He was an All-Australian. Just let him go peacefully into the night now. Don't bring him back and make us all hate him all over again. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just having a look at the profiles here. So Oscar Ryan is 187 centimetres, Charlie Edwards 191. They're both 19 and they both have a birthday in mid-May. So they're basically the same age, 3 days apart. So couple of centimetres different for basically the same height. But I see why you think that Edwards is like significantly taller.
He seems a bit bigger, doesn't he? He feels like he's bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. Whether it's Ryan gives off the impression of a smaller defender or whether they've just been playing him smaller, it could be a bit of that. But yeah, interesting. So those two are probably, pushing for a spot. I pray Brodie Smith doesn't play next week. I mean, we've all said it. Club legend. We all love him, appreciate everything he's done for the club, but his time is done, I think.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. But will be an interesting watch on the SANFL today, of course, 2:10 p.m. If you're a very keen listener of us and you're already listening to this before the game starts, thank you, first and foremost. But obviously tune into that very shortly. Before we go into a preview of the Carlton game this week, I want to have a chat to you boys about proper classics this week, because we don't actually have that many games that are like, the real memorable ones. So I've written 3 on the run sheet. Obviously last year when Berry kicked the goal, I feel like that's a bit too soon to be reliving that as a classic. 2022 at Adelaide Oval, Trib, a night that you probably remember for maybe a few reasons that are different from the game.
Yeah, bro. Why do you remember that night, bro?
I've got no comment.
legally obligated not to say anything about that one there.
Yeah, I'm actually not able
and
to.
also
So.
I've put. And the last one I put on there is 2017 at the MCG, where we won by 10 points and came back late. I can't think of any other games. If we were a Carlton podcast, we'd probably pick the one where Fev kicks the goal late to sink us, but that's a painful memory.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm really not sure. Do you boys have any memories?
I mean, the first gather round was pretty good. I don't know if that, again, though, that was quite... They're all recent, which is the issue. Like, they're not... The 2017 game isn't a classic for me. It's just another game that we've won. Like, because I was at that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't... I don't think it was that good of a game to warrant having it as a classic. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's got to be last season. I think it's got to be last season's, really. In all honesty, it's the only one that makes you go, yeah, holy shit.
Yeah.
Unless we just do the first quarter of the first gathering,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's every game we've played against them has been kind of mid, except for last year. So because the way we've been going, it was. Sorry, Ben.
No, you go.
Oh, I just think that, like, especially in recent memory, every time we've played them, we've smacked them. So it's like, yeah, except for when we were like bad, but
we beat them still though. In 2020, we own them.
Yeah, we beat them in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. We do own the Carlton Football Club. You're so right.
fucking dogs.
Yep. Facts. There was another one, I think it's 2001 or 2, I think maybe, where Mark Rashudo had like 35 touches and kicked 4 in a 10-point win, but it was pissing with rain all day and it's a tough game to watch. So that's another option. But
I was in nappies still.
We'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do some digging later.
Just preparing for kindergarten.
And
No, I'll figure something else out. So I'll get it prepped and have it up on Thursday morning. I think I'll post it because I'll be flying out to Canberra at 6 a.m. Friday morning, and I can't say it'll be front of mind getting up at that time to post it. So I'll put it up Thursday. Now we'll move on to round 8 versus Carlton this week. Of course, big game. The Blues are yet to play this round yet. They play the Cats this afternoon at the MCG, so we don't know how they've gone this round yet, but generally in pretty average form, but getting better as the year goes on. Must-win game. Dill, what are your thoughts on this one leading into it?
Oh, I don't know what to think, mate. I don't think Carlton are that good. And we just sort of spoke about we are a much better side than them over time. Like, we've sort of beaten them when they come. Especially over here, they don't like playing here. But look, I'm not as confident as what I was 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we'll get the job done. But look, I won't be there. I'll be over in Melbourne. But I hope we get it done, honestly. Because if we don't, then I don't even want to think about the outside noise. If we lose, don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, it's pretty grim if we do lose, and it'd be not a fun place, especially leading into a showdown as well the week after. So, yeah, interesting one. Dom, what do you reckon, mate? Do you think we bounce back? Probably hinges on a few different things this week. Filth being available, what they do with the squad.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors still to play in. Like, I'm still. I still think we'll get the job done, but I think we would have had a better idea if we'd recorded this after the game today. Like, I think that'll give us a pretty good indicator of where Carlton are actually at, because they've been pretty average to start the year. And the 2 wins I've got in the past 2 weeks have been big wins, but not exactly against difficult oppo. But then it's also the thing of they may have played themselves into some form or some confidence now. So, it's hard to read. Like you said, I think whether or not Phil Thorpe plays is a big one. Um, who replaces Hinge is a big one. How our midfield's going to function. Like if we can bounce back. There's so many. I still think we'll win. I still don't think Carlton are good enough. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to read.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough. I mean, Carlton, as Dill said, their record at Adelaide Oval isn't particularly fantastic. I think they are 3-7, and two of those wins have come against, I think, West Coast and Fremantle, obviously, in the couple of gather rounds that they've played there. Did they beat Port there recently? I can't figure out where the other wins come from there, but yeah, their record's 3-7. So don't love coming over here. We've had pretty good recent history against them. So fingers crossed that continues. I mean, it's hard to be confident at the moment given what we saw on Friday night. Just hope that it was a, tough away trip against a semi-decent side. It's really funny that we say that because last week we were talking about how boring Freo are and how bad they are, but they're an okay side.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll hopefully bounce back. I mean, come back home, 8-day break. Carlton will be coming off a 6-day break, so there are a few things in our favour. Obviously need to put all the pieces together and see how we go from there. So way too early predictions. Actually, we won't go predictions. We'll go changes to the side. So if we just go on early prediction, obviously we've got Hinge out. We don't know what's happening with Filth. Are there any other changes we'd make to the side? I'll start with you, mate.
I think Burgess and Charlie Edwards come in for Phil and Hinge. I think that's it.
Okay, yeah. Dom, how about you?
Yep.
I probably agree. I think, again, I'd like to see McAndrew over Burgess, but it won't happen. I don't think it's probably the time to do it anyway. But yeah, I think that's probably the only thing that'll change. I can't imagine anyone will get dropped. There's probably no one that deserves to be dropped per se. Like I think there were a lot of players that were real average, but I don't think anyone was bad enough to drop. Like maybe Zach Taylor, but even then he still had 5 tackles and 8 touches. Like that's not exactly bad for someone that's playing forward and running through the midfield every now and then. So yeah, I can't imagine much will change.
Yeah.
Dream scenario: Riley O'Brien goes out for McAndrew, regardless of what happens to Phil Thorpe. But no, it won't happen.
Yeah, more than likely won't. But yeah, we'll see. I think for me, and I want to preface this by saying this is what I think will happen, not what I want to happen. I just have a bad feeling that Brodie Smith comes into the side. After he brought in Murphy against the Suns, I just have a really bad feeling that that's probably going to happen. And I mean, if he does, of course, I hope he plays well and goes really well. But I don't know. I've got a feeling that he probably comes in and probably Burgess in for Phil Thorpe as well. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, teams announced on Thursday night. We probably won't have a live this week. As Dill said, we're travelling the country a bit between us. Dill will be in Melbourne. I'll be in Canberra. Dom will be playing solo on Saturday there in terms of us at the ground. So probably not a live this week. We'll work out what's happening in terms of an episode for next week because I'll still be in Canberra on Sunday and Dill will still be in Melbourne. So likely a Tuesday release, potentially late Monday night. We'll see how we go. And yeah, other than that, predictions for this game. Dill, who you got? How much?
Crows by 15.
Take it. Dom, how about you?
Oh, Crows by 25. I'll back us in to have a big one still.
Yeah. I'll take a similar. I'll take Crows by 20. I'm hopeful. It's blind hope this week, I feel like. The spirits have been doused a little bit after last week, so hopefully we bounce back and just make it okay going into the showdown in a big couple of weeks. This is a game that we really need to win this week, obviously. A very tough draw coming up. We've got the showdown the week after. We travel to Collingwood away the week after that. Come back home for, a little bit of respite against the Eagles, you'd hope. And then we travel to Sydney after that as well. So it's a Test
It doesn't get
couple
any
of weeks.
easier.
Oh,
We
geez,
got
I've just
bloody
scrolled down
Brisbane
further,
at
yeah.
home and then Hawthorn away in
Is
Tasmania.
is
So,
Brisbane a Friday night?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's gonna be a fucking
long
ripper.
weekend, Friday night.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
has the
I think is
potential to
that
be a
King's birthday
real long
weekend.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe drink 85
Yeah.
beers. We'll see what happens.
Well said.
No, absolutely. But other than that, anything else you boys want to touch on before we head off?
No, mate, I reckon that's right on time of my timer going off. I've got to go, so that fits in perfectly. So, no, I haven't really got much else to say. I think we've covered it off pretty well.
Yeah, well said.
Beautifully timed. Dom, how
Based
about
on
you?
team selection, I might go live on Thursday night on my own if a certain Brody Smith comes into the side just to vent some thoughts. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll be around on Thursday night, so potentially, depending on if I've decided
So
to
will I.
pack
I'll be around
pre-Thursday
Thursday night as well.
We'll see.
Okay. Alright,
Yeah.
perfect.
So we should hopefully get something up, but don't take it as a promise from us. We'll see if we can coordinate it all working. We'll be there. If not, then not. But we'll see. Other than that, give us a follow on the socials, of course, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Proper Crows Pod. Give us a follow on YouTube if you're watching there at the moment. Hello and thank you. Get on TikTok as well. You can see Proper Classics there now because we've worked out that we can actually upload them there too. And of course, Twitter. This week's will be up on Thursday morning, probably about 7:30 a.m. Next week, we'll work out an episode at some stage as well, depending on our travels and everything like that. Other than that, Dill, thanks for joining today in a fair worse mood than the last few weeks, but that's all right.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, mate. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All good, mate. And thank you very much, Dom.
No worries, mate. Hopefully we're in a bit of a better mood on Thursday night.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see how we go. But other than that, enjoy your weeks. Go Crows next week. Get there if you can.
Go Crows.
And yeah,
See yous.
bye.
Ring the bell!